From New York City to Los Angeles, Powered Up Talk Radio is giving women of all ages permission to live the life they'd always dreamed of. Here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin.
Hey everybody, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we're visiting today with Lisa Transcendence Brown, and we're going to talk about all sorts of things, everything under the sun, but you're going to walk away feeling better than you have in days or weeks or months. We're so excited to have Lisa here today. Linda, how's it in New York today?
It's hot and it's muggy, and it's been raining. It's not raining right now, but we've had a weather pattern where it's just been humid and really rainy every day. And it's I'm waiting for a nice crisp fall day where I can actually open up my windows and feel the breeze come in. I think it's going to be a while, but it's going to be very welcome when it arrives.
Well, we're hot and on fire here in Southern California, and we're going to go over to Hawaii with the volcano. Like, Lisa,
that's a different island. Luckily, that's a different island. Here is, it's beautiful. I mean, it's plasma, so our realities are a little bit different and stuff. But it's. I woke up this morning to the oranges and the golds of the sunrise, and so I run out in the pinks, watching the pink skies and stuff like that. So run out, and me and my camera that is like constantly pictures. Years ago it was share the pictures so people can understand. So but I will get woken up every morning like when the sun starts to peek out, and I can see all the golds and it's beautiful. So it's like it's a photo walk. New Earth is a photo walk, 24 hours.
Well, and that's a very playful way to start your day. And, before we got on the show today, we were talking about the power of play. And, I'm going to go to Linda first because I'm very playful. I play, I think, all the time. In fact, I think I need to grow up a little bit more. But Linda, you have a struggle with play.
I've always had a struggle with play. I think I was born and at 52 years old because I never knew how. It just, I admire other people that can, but it's for me at this stage of my life, learning how. And I think a big part of that is learning that time doesn't exist and we're only in the moment, because every time I go out of that and think of what's next or what's the future or whatever, that the playfulness goes out of me. And so I am now reining myself back into just being in the moment and enjoying playing with my dog or enjoy walking, around the streets of New York or whatever. But that is making a big difference to me, just understanding that, time doesn't really exist.
That's beautiful. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and being that present within the moment, we actually start to pay attention to things we couldn't see. We actually start to connect on a whole new level where there's beauty and there's appreciation and there's this connectedness that isn't available when we step out of and go back into the separation of time.
This morning I was leaving, I live in an apartment building in New York, and I'm on the 32nd floor. So the elevator, and I was going to the gym to work out. And at the 30th floor, the elevator door opened, and a nanny and this most beautiful baby came in. And this baby was just, her eyes were looking at everything, and she was smiling, and she was listening to her little thing on the stroller, like it was the Lone Ranger thing. What is that? The William Tell Overture. And that made me so happy, just going down those 32 floors with this baby.
Yeah. It brings such joy. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. It is. We didn't realize how much we missed out on before. We didn't realize, yesterday I was walking around and you'll start seeing in metaphors and different things. And even the song, the Lone Ranger song you talked about, that one played earlier in my awakening process, the Lone Ranger song. So it's kind of funny that you mentioned that one. That's why I said what I did, or giggled a little bit.
The baby loved it. She said, the nanny said that's her favorite song. She just gets so happy when she
That's awesome. Yeah, songs come to play a huge part of this process, as well as many other things do. There are symphonics, universal symphonics, and frequencies that we hear and listen to, and they play, and there are different songs, and so they'll correlate to different songs, and songs will play in your head, and every one of them are activations, which is kind of really cool.
So what does that mean? Like, I had this song by Firehouse in my head, and I hear it when I'm dreaming, I hear it when I'm sleeping, and it's like, it's all about the love of your life, and it's a beautiful song, but it's, where does that come from, and why am I doing that?
Okay, so you know me, 12,000 different directions. Let's go to the simplest one. My words would be, it's your higher self. It's you starting to pay attention to the songs in your head. Some of them are messages. For you know, I separate everything out into our ego and our higher self at first, but then we go, you know, so far beyond that. But in the beginning, we have an ego aspect, which is what I call our human aspect, which is our third and fourth dimensional aspect, if you will. And then you get into the fifth dimension and go much higher, which is where the play comes in. Because we can't access or awaken new earth from within us if we can't play like a child. But then we go through this whole growing up process once we rebirth. So you're rebirthing, Linda, when you're connected like that with the child, and you're beyond the separation of time. You're fully immersed in the moment, the experience, and fully connected within the experience. You'll notice how pure the experience is. Yes. And that's what this is about, is those pure experiences of deep it's a very sacred connection with each other, in a very different way. Each other on an energetic level, is each other on a soul level, is each other, you know, in a very different way. Linda, for the songs, it's funny because the song that you pick or hear, they represent many different things. For me, in the beginning, when I was first coming through my heavy-duty dark night for a year and a half of the intensity, then the first song that I remember was "You Are My Sunshine," and I would walk around "You Are My Sun," and it actually helped elevate me out of that place. Mm-hmm. It brought my happy in, so I could actually kind of get into step with the universe. And find my happy when my happy was kind of non-existent for a while, working through the heavy, intense stuff.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Once I started activating the fifth dimension inside of me, then all these different love songs started to play. And what they do is they soften your heart. For me, I'm like, really, Celine Dion? I love Celine Dion. I sing like mad, but 24 hours a day, I'm like, really? The Power of Love was the song that would play over and over 24 hours a day. And then when I hit Arcturian frequencies, then different songs played. And so each one represents something different for us. They help activate us on a cellular level. Yes. And in the beginning, if you will, I'm going to say in the beginning, but you guys know me as just a reference point for all of us. Songs will get us to pay attention to the symphonics and the harmonics in our head. Songs, because what will happen is once we start hearing the songs and paying attention, you'll start hearing light frequencies in different ways. They're light frequencies, if you will. They're messages. Everything you hear inside technically is a message of some kind. It's a translation of a vibrational frequency that's located inside of your body somewhere. Some of them open portals of our heart on a cellular level. Some of them, for me, Linda, I was like really strong, linear, logical, and when I would start getting too focused on something, too worried, too fixated on the human reality, the song "Ease Your Mind" would start kicking in. Ease your mind, and the rest will follow. It was like, okay, and I started paying attention to the songs that played, and they were telling me what to do, if you will. They're basically our higher self, if you will. They're many things, but it's however you want to look at it.
Well, my song, and I remember for 20 years ago when I first heard it, before I didn't even know what consciousness was, was "One Moment in Time" with Whitney. And every time I hear that song, I cry.
Yeah. And notice the words, one moment, moment, just this moment, right? You're talking about being present. Yeah. Some will have words, and that's what they'll do. They'll actually, we have different ways of awakening. We can do the harsh and the rough, which we all kind of have to do, some of the harsh and the rough. It's actually what brings the walls of protection and the fight and the resistance of our ego down. We didn't understand how much resistance and defensiveness and refusal to a process that has to occur, so that we had. But there's also a soft way to open up, which is our heart opening, because all of this is about our heart, opening our heart, constantly opening our heart more, wide open, all the way to where it doesn't close anymore. And we had no clue how much programming we held that shut our heart down, or we would put up walls around our heart to protect ourselves, or get caught up in the drama or the chaos of the unconscious realities, if you will. Somewhere over the rainbow, when I hit the magical realms, and different ones, it was when you wish upon a star, all your dreams will come true. And that's when I was able to start actually focusing my energy to bring forth and start anchoring the higher dimensional dreams into the physical reality, is when those started to play. So everything represents something. It's kind of cool if we just will listen. I remember a phrase that came through in the beginning, which was from Star Trek or something from the early days. And it wasn't a song, but the words were really strong. And it was, resistance is futile.
Yeah, I remember that episode, resistance is futile.
You'll start hearing it. It's basically telling you can stop resisting now, or you're basically going to suffer. And it basically, so every time that my resistance would kick in, or the walls of my heart would go back up, I would hear resistance is futile. I would, okay, and bring them right back down. Bring that heart right back open again. Because if we close our heart, then something's going to happen to open it back up again. The soft way of doing this is those beautiful tears that allow our heart to open up and expand through beauty, through presence, through divine essence, through that deep sacred connection place inside of us, instead of requiring the harsh, the more masculine we are, if you will, and the more ego we have, the less open we are to opening our heart. And so the way I explain it is that the force has to be stronger than our ego is, which is why that will explain a lot of stuff that goes down. You can actually look at it and see what's actually required by each one of us to get our heart open. And our refusal, is one of the first things that will actually trigger a vibrational response stronger than our ego is. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And my ego, it raises its ugly head a lot, because it is saying, what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
I'm the boss, and you just better get in line. And I'm saying, no, you're not the boss anymore. I talked to it. Yeah, you got to.
It's recognizing our ego is a small child that doesn't like not getting its way. It is, and this is where I get into people paying attention to their inner narcissist. Because our ego is our inner narcissist. It's manipulative. It will try anything to avoid, or to maintain control, or to get its way, and all of these things. And to understand your ego is a part of this process. To recognize it is huge, because that's where self-accountability and responsibility comes in to all humanity. It is to stop playing the ego game, stop allowing our ego to have the power anymore, because our ego is what keeps us anchored in the third and the fourth dimension. Think
about like all the great religions, and they talk about humbling, humble yourself before
very
God.
humble place.
It took me until probably this last vacation to really understand the connection between ego and humbling yourself, because you can set your ego aside temporarily, but when you really humble yourself, and I sat at my mom's grave, and I was looking at the corn and thinking, the corn doesn't try to be anything but corn. The trees aren't trying to outgrow each other, and I looked at this it was like a little wild daisy that was pushing up between two rocks, and I'm like, this is life. Like, and I looked around thinking, God, what is this all about? You know, why
Good for you?
And I felt so humbled because when you actually look around, like, and you're not looking out the windows of your car or looking at your phone, it's amazing how tiny we are.
In the beginning, and hold on, I want to write something down because I was looking for the words from yesterday. The words were hidden in plain sight. So as we talk about this, everything we couldn't see was hidden in plain sight. It takes tuning your consciousness to the present moment to actually see what we couldn't see before, on every level. We are just these little things in the beginning, if you will. But the deeper we go inside of ourselves, the bigger we become energetically. We become these massive, powerful beings full of light. And this light that is the lighthouse, that is, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel, we become this massive force, a force to be reckoned with, but through love. And so it's a very different energy, but finding that little light inside and connecting to it, in the beginning, it feels small. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But what you're talking about is the opposite, which is realizing how small we are in the realm of all things and stuff. And that's, we have to have that recognition in the beginning to connect with becoming very humbled, to learn humility, a lot of things. But once you realize we're just, you know, we're just these small things in the realm of the beauty, in the realm of the magic, in the realm of all of these things we couldn't see. It puts things in a different perspective. The beauty of that is once we gain and achieve that perspective to understand that we're all connected. Mm-hmm. Everything's connected on an energetic level. It also puts into perspective how much power we gave to the external reality before. How much energy we put into the things we thought were bigger than we were, more important than we were, or had more power than we were. It's a start to a process, if you will, that brings our power back inside. Mm-hmm. But it's a very different power than it was before. This is not a power of over anything. This is a power through purity.
Right, and within. Like it's
from deep within. Yeah. Yes. From deep within. But it's a very different power. It's subtle. Mm-hmm. It's kind. It's respectful. It doesn't impose. It's always there. We are always there, able to maintain a certain present or essence. Mm-hmm. But we don't impose, and we don't take anything from others anymore. Does that make sense?
Right, and it's not about conquering. You know, when I was looking at the rows of corn, and I saw all these seagulls in the farmer's field because a storm was coming, and they all flocked together against a red barn. You know, it was so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And I just stood there in the middle of this country road, you know, in the middle of nowhere, that I have walked probably 1,000 times in my lifetime because I grew up there. Mm-hmm. But I saw it differently, and I saw how I was part of all this, but I had to do my part. Like I'm not to be the corn, I'm not to be the birds, and I know that sounds total hokey.
No, this is how we roll.
It was really powerful for me, and everything looks so beautiful and so vibrant
and alive, and colorful.
Yeah, different glasses.
That's part of seeing New Earth. That's part of being able to see on an energetic level what we couldn't see before. It's through a deeply connected state that occurs when we basically tune our consciousness to everything around us. And you basically are merging your consciousness with everything. When we do this, and we're so fully present within the moment that you kind of let everything else go. Everything else goes. Nothing else matters. And it brings in new understanding and awarenesses, which is how we learn from that place in that space, Sandra. I had to spend years there to you're basically becoming one with the universe, your universe, the universe. They become the same thing. Mm-hmm. But merging our fields of consciousness with everything around us, you have to get all the distortions out of the way. Do you notice you have to cut everything out?
Right.
You have to pull away from everything and just be. Mm-hmm. And just allow yourself to get lost. This is the beauty. And Linda, this is going to be a hard one. You have to get lost in a thought. You have to get lost and just let yourself just wander, literally with your body. Mm-hmm. For me to start learning how to wander, I didn't understand in the beginning that learning how to wander with my consciousness was how I would access the higher dimensional realms, the other dimensional realms, whatever words we want to use. Because we don't have any imagination in the beginning. And opening up my imagination and learning how to play like a child again and allowing myself to wonder and allowing myself to explore. You know, I've lately with massive collectives waking up, there's a lot of stuff going on with different collectives and where everybody is. But one thing is that when we were deeply unconscious and asleep, we kind of didn't think for ourselves. And so when we start to wake up, we have to start to think for ourselves, which is where all the confusion comes in. It's like, oh, but I don't know what to think, you know, and then, you know, a lot of people get caught up in a lot of drama while they're trying to shift out of their head and into their heart and learn to feel and connect, which is kind of the point. You know, when we start to understand how all this works, it doesn't have to be as complicated as it was before. I couldn't allow myself to relax enough to dream. And I'm actually writing a new email series that I'm talking about all of this stuff too, because it's really important. The transition from old earth to new is a process. Mm-hmm. It's a process of reconnecting again, but it's through our heart. And it does mean letting everything go that doesn't support that deep sacred connection inside of ourselves. Let it go. You know, it's a vibrational tuning with our whole body to get fully present within the moment and to really connect on a whole new level. And the reason I said that about Linda was because the more masculine we are, the more logical, linear we are, the less we can dream. Mm-hmm. The less we can just let our minds wander into the what ifs in an awesome way. The human will go into what ifs and expect the shoe to drop and the world to collapse. And what if somebody does this to me? And what if this happened? But this is the opposite what ifs. This is a what if and all the amazing things. And you actually allow yourself to dream about what if this happened, what if this happened, and not get caught up in needing it, but more entertaining it so that the heart can open.
Well, and I can give you this great example. Linda and I are taking this class, and one of the assignments was to do this vision board. And I couldn't envision anything. And it was awful because I just sat there going, oh, you know, I have no vision. I have no goals. I have no dreams. And what was happening, and I don't know if it was ego or fear or both, but there were all these shoulds. You know, I went to college, I did this, I worked at these companies, blah, 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 all the shoulds that I should want. And over here was my little voice going, well, but this is what my heart wants.
Right.
And so when you said the what if, that was a big thing for me. Like it brought me right back to that moment because I'm sitting up in the field going, well, what if I just put aside what all of my education and mentors, everybody said I should do? What if I just thought about what I wanted and like secret little...
And not put a limit on it. Don't put a condition or a limit on it and say, oh, but I don't have this. And but if this, you know, we get all caught up in all of the conditions and the limits. Just allow yourself to what if. Yeah.
But that was hard for me.
It's hard.
I'm saying. It was really hard. And when I had the what if, I felt like the pilot light in my heart lit. And I got like 3 little glimpses of like what could be.
Yep.
But
that's so funny. Everything you're saying is everything I'm writing right now for the email, the little pilot light, the little flame and stuff like that. It is. It's so funny because you're saying everything that I'm writing right now.
Good. Because that, you know, I'm a new person doing this stuff. So, and I struggle with some of it. You know, Linda's very good at knowing what to do and how to do it. And
No.
You guys are so funny.
Lucy is sitting in my lap now because it's thundering out. Okay. And every time it starts to thunder, she starts to shake like a little leaf.
Yeah.
And if you're in bed, I mean, she'll be on your head. So I'm just, as long as I'm holding her, she'll be okay.
Welcome to the
course
show.
that we're taking, you know, Sandra and I are very fortunate. We have you, I look at you as a guide, and we're taking this 30-week course on moving into higher consciousness, going from 3 to 5. That's all I can handle right now is 5. And then when I listen to you, I say, oh boy, but I'm working on 5.
I know, it's just like, there's more. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought 5 was it.
No, and when I read the thing on 9D recently, I'm like, this is really going to push a lot of people. But the thing about it is I know, 5D opens everything up.
Yeah.
It opens up the rest, you know, and I'm writing pieces on all of this right now because part of my role is to explain it all, not for the ego though, to explain how important this is, how big this is, how much why we're here, you know, a lot of these things, and how some of this stuff is going to go. The reason I wrote the thing about the 9D is usually I will not do that, but it's basically to show everybody that everybody's been working so hard to get to 5D. It's like we're going so far beyond 5D, you know, and it's really important to really open up. 9D is the template for Gaia. A lot of us have been functioning from this place for years. 9D is the collective template that's become available, and then we're moving into other templates and stuff. It's important to understand these things on a whole new level so that we can, you know, multidimensionality doesn't fit into the realm of what's reasonable.
Right.
It just doesn't. But to put some semblance of understanding to the things that don't make any logical sense is really important because it appeases our logical mind in a way. In one way, it aggravates it too, because like Linda, we were talking before we came in here, is you don't get the answer. You get a billion of them. You get choices. You get opportunities to choose, whether you're going to be your higher self or you're going to be your human, you. And then the choice that we make in every moment on an energetic level dictates the reality we call forth for our experiences here. So, you know, part of re-educating everybody through higher consciousness is a really important thing for all of us because it makes a difference for everybody. It eases the journey and makes it a whole lot easier to do, if you will. When Linda said 30 weeks, get ready. 30 weeks is just the beginning, darling.
Oh, yes.
Because it's for the rest of our life.
But this woman that's teaching the course, she was a teacher before school before she started this, but she's so gentle and so kind, and I believe she is in the 5th, and she's just taking us step by step by step. So the newbies, you know, are going slow. So I listen to her, and then I do all of the homework and everything that she gives me, and it makes me feel good. And then I listen to you, and I mean the combination is like awesome.
Yay.
It is. It's awesome. Because
it's important for us to immerse our consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's important to immerse our consciousness in consciousness. And consciousness is living from our hearts, which going beyond that place, you know, we can call it whatever we want to. We can call it the 5th dimension. We can call it, you know, whatever we want to. The 5th dimension is accessed through starting to live from our heart. And so when you say, I believe she's in the 5th dimension, Linda, I want to play with you for a moment because you have a judgment about the 5th dimension going on. Okay. You have a she's in the 5th dimension, but I'm not in the 5th dimension. You have a judgment about yourself.
Well, you know, I guess you judge yourself. And so I was talking to my trainer, Fred, who was not here today because his dog was.
I was going to say, we miss Fred. Hi, Fred.
Hi, Fred. And he said, where are you? And I said, I believe I'm in the 4th. I mean, I think I'm at 4.5 because I'm very conscious. This is the most important thing in my life right now. And I'm working at it. But do I believe my heart is fully open? Not yet.
Well, but this is the key. Is that The only reason we break the dimensions down linearly is so that we can understand. Only our ego cares really about the linearity of the whole thing. It's important to more reassociate everything and how we see. The fifth dimension is when you're acting and coming from your pure heart, not the human heart that's in pain. That's a part of the process too. But when your heart is pure, when you're being real, when you're wide open, and what we don't understand in the beginning, and when our heart first wide opens, all our stuff starts bellowing out from every orifice, and we're like, oh, but wait a minute, I thought I was supposed to be all rosy and cheery and awesome, and it's like, nope, all that's first.
It's a job.
In the beginning, it is a job. It is a job to one, recognize when our heart closes. And we do have to practice, and we do have to, on a human level.
Oh, I have it. When my heart closes, it feels like crap.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
Does. It doesn't feel like when I was looking at that baby this morning or holding Lucy, that's for sure.
No. And well, that's why we immerse ourselves in consciousness, is it actually gives our human aspect a focal point, if you will. When you immerse yourself in consciousness and you surround yourself through higher states of consciousness, through whatever it is, I tell everybody, it doesn't matter what you do, just do it all. Do all of it.
Here's that. They're saying that thunder.
Is that what that was? That's beautiful. Okay. Well, and we've had some stuff come through recently that it's we're going to see a lot more with the weather and the earth and the bodies and all that kind of stuff, because we're going through a massive bioelectric circuitry upgrade for everything. So the everything is going through a massive recoding, if you will, rewiring process. So electricity is a part of the process of the electromagnetic field. And so the thunder and the lightning and the electrical jolts and all that kind of stuff, it's all a part of this process too. Where were we? I got lost. I forgot.
Well, one of the things we were talking about was the kind of the concept of we get a little bit from everywhere. Like, Lisa, I read your books and I work with your little bag of rocks that I love. And then I take class from, I know, it's so awful. I got to.
No, I love it. It's so, nobody cares. It's good for it. That's awesome.
I love my bag of rocks. And
oh, let me tell you. Yep.
You know, and then we have her name's Dr. Geraldine Tegelov, and she will patiently explain things in this class. And then I sit there going like, okay, I'm really going to try to get this. And then we have a show with you, Lisa, or I watch one of your, you've got many videos on YouTube. Like, if you're watching this today, just Google Lisa, you'll find her, Lisa Transcendence Brown. And it starts to coalesce. It starts to settle. Like one
That's the point.
Enough. Like, I got a little confused in your book, and then I was clarified with Geraldine. Then I take Geraldine's class and I get confused and I go back to your book, and then I just take out my bag of rocks and go, help.
Yep. Well, and this is the thing, is that in the beginning, we didn't understand. We thought that opening our heart was like, you're going to do this practice, and when I have a rough time, I'll do this practice. Or when it's convenient, I'll do this practice. This is so far beyond that. This is 24 hours a day, immersing ourselves in everything higher consciousness. If we want to be able to elevate our consciousness and raise our body's consciousness, because our body is what holds the density. Our body holds all the programming. And so as we open our heart, then our cells actually open up and start releasing, which is why so many people are going through, when we get hit with all these solar flares and we get hit with all these things and all these upgrades, it's an activation on a soul. Notice the word solar, the solar sun, and your soul. Same thing. Photonic light, soul, light body. It's an activation of all of these things.
And your body changes.
Your body goes through immense stuff. Yes, immense stuff. And the heating up and the cooling down and the bones and the muscles and the brain and the heart and the blood and the urine and the teeth, you name it. Every part of our body goes through a complete reconfiguration process all along the way. And each time we get blasted, if you will, And blasting, most people don't understand, is coming from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, a lot of people will look out there to see what's going to happen or what's going down in order to give some correlation, you know, which is why I did what I did for years, which was write and put all the information out there and get people present with their body and point them inward to start paying attention to the vibrations and when the energy shifts and all this kind of stuff, because it's really important. Our third dimension, I'm writing a piece right now that's really important, because we didn't understand, you know, everybody thinks the light body is nobody really understands what the light body is. You know, so which is part of why I do what I do. But our third dimension had a light body too. It's just there was no light. It was, you know, how we sustained
Where's the
was
pilot
very
light
different.
button?
The pilot light wasn't even on. I mean, it was so deeply hidden and so small, and because our hearts were completely closed, and what fueled our body was foods and sugars. And, you know, we would do all these things to give our body fuel to get through or sleep from exhaustion. We did everything backwards there because we didn't have enough inner light to sustain the body. Then you hit the fourth dimension, if you will, with the body, and it's the heart opening so it can clear a lot of that density so that our light can come on. And so the whole time our body is located density, it's a density thing. In the fourth dimension, it's clearing the programming so that more light can move through our body, so our fifth dimensional light body can activate. So there is a light body in each phase. It's light quotient, though. And so, you know, our bodies have templates. And so a third and fourth dimensional template still exist within the linear constraints of everything, of time. And that linear constraint, the third and the fourth body template still holds death as a program. And so transcending, that's, you know, with some of the stuff I've been writing recently about the acceleration of the death cycles. It's so that the physical body can transcend those cycles. But it actually speeds up the generation process or the degeneration process to get to the point of ego death, and time will speed, everything will speed up really fast until it collapses into 0-point field. And once it collapses, I know I just went sideways on you guys, didn't I? No way, here she went. All right, so I'm going to explain this and we'll go back.
The implosion of the body. I was hanging in there.
Well, it's true. It's some of the things. I mean, I'll just share it with the women out there. I mean, I've been taking bioidentical hormones since I was 50.
Okay.
A long time ago, right? And it was like perfect. And then all of a sudden, I would say in the last 6 months.
They won't work.
No, they work. But what happens, and this, I'll just share it, is I do it, I cut it down in half.
Yeah.
My breasts get very sore, which shows me there's too much estrogen in my body. And so right now, I'm not doing anything. And then they feel, but that changed. I mean, it was good for like, I don't know, 15 years. And all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore.
Nothing's going to work like it did before. Nothing. We're not able to, how do I say this in a kind and responsible way? We're not able to manipulate the body in non-natural ways anymore. Okay. Now it's about the body is intelligent. The body knows what it needs. The body is trying to speak to us and release all of this stuff. Okay. So our light body actually holds the codes for recoding our body with everything that it needs. And so activating our light body means the release of everything that was toxic, that kept our body asleep, all the things that suppressed, all the things that interfered on a bioelectrical. Our light body is bioelectric, okay? And it's photonic light that moves through our body. and it activates everything, and it stimulates everything, and it awakens the body. The body was deeply asleep. All the neurotransmitters, all of these things, well, all the physical and emotional pain that was held in the body's got to go too. And so on a human level, we protected ourselves, or we didn't want to feel the pain, or we wanted to dull or numb the pain, you know, and instead of understanding that all it does is come back later with a vengeance. And that pain is, the body has to release all of that stuff. Yeah. And so, you know, especially what's going to go down for a lot of collectives right now, eventually your body transcends all of that stuff.
Well,
okay.
Is that why, like, you know, I've been doing this work with Linda for, you know, I don't know, years. And when I like now to lay in the sun, but it's a different lay in the sun.
Yeah.
It feels, I yearn for it.
You're charging your light body.
Yearn for the trees. You know, it's like a yearning, and it's this, I thought I was losing my mind when I'm home because I'm yearning the lake, and
that's your soul.
Okay.
That's basically your soul trying to, you know, I put this in layman's terms, if you will.
Yeah, good.
That's your soul trying to come from your body. It wants to bust out.
Yes, because it feels like it's coming out.
It is. It's the light inside. Basically, we need sun to sun charge so that we activate through photonic light. We have crystals inside of our body that have to activate, and they activate every time we sun charge or get out in the sun. Now, the other thing about every time we get in the sun is that any density our body's got is going to come up after the fact. So if you'll notice, anytime you go out in the sun and get a lot of sun, the days after is when you'll start noticing emotions, programs, doesn't matter what it is. It's because once you activate that light inside, it's basically going to go for any programming that needs to clear, if you will, and stuff. So understanding how this process works is really important, because to understand that the stuff we're clearing is not a fault.
Okay.
The stuff we're clearing was the density that kept our body anchored in the lower dimensional realms. Literally, the light inside of us couldn't expand. The light inside of us couldn't come on. The light inside of us couldn't function. And the light is our consciousness. I'm tying everything in here together with different words. That light is who we truly are. And everything else is who we're not, which is basically everything, if you will. And so, yes, you will find that you need to be in nature, that you need, you'll have these pulls and these drives that won't make any linear logical sense, but you'll need to do this and stuff. And that's basically your soul, you know, that a lot of the times basically speaking to you, and it'll feel like it's coming through your body, because it is. It used to be our soul floated around out there, but when that light ignites inside, then it starts working through our body, and the more conscious and present we are and in tune we are, the more that light can move through our body and awaken our body. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it really means being really in tune, really connected, really pulling away and flooding our consciousness with everything that assists in elevating our consciousness, raising our vibration. You know, I saw somebody yesterday wrote in, I don't get to reply to anything, but I can see them fly by a lot of the times. But or I saw somewhere, somebody said, I'm trying really hard to keep my vibration up. Well, that's the old way. We don't try to keep our vibration up because it's it's the ego's way, if that makes sense. When we're not able to keep our vibration up, that means something needs to clear. And you kind of basically go all into it and clear it so your vibration can raise. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We didn't understand in the beginning that when stuff comes up, that's what kept our vibration down.
Right. Because we stepped it back down. We didn't allow it to just move.
Right. And so our ego will try to keep our vibration up, and it creates a resistance in our body against what it's trying to release. Instead of just going, oh, here's some stuff that needs to come up, and go, oh, here my body's releasing. When our body starts dumping, the last few days we got whammied, like mega wattage, and it's still going. It's just not as intense as it was a couple of days ago. You know, vomiting, diarrhea. The body starts dumping everything. It was called a cosmic flush a couple days ago, but it's Sirian and Lyran energies, which basically run through the body to activate the crystals or crystalline structure and a lot of things. Our bodies will go haywire. Well, haywire is quantum.
Yeah.
Okay. When our world's going haywire, that's quantum too.
And I've been getting like bumps and little welts all, in different.
That's star particles and crystals.
And for me, and probably for a lot of other people, when all of this happens, we can listen and believe what you're saying, but we have to bring in the element of trust, because it's kind of scary. Do I run to my doctor? Am I sick? Am I dying? What's going on here? But no, it's just that clearing, and it's a good thing. It's not a bad.
But it's not even a clearing, Linda. In a way, it is. But even if we look at it as a clearing, we give it a connotation of, we're clearing again. I saw somebody yesterday, it's clearing again. What was going down for some people hasn't been clearing. Okay, and so while there is always clearing of some kind going on, the activations of light codes and the star particles and the crystals in our body is not clearing. It's an activation of new codes. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
And so if we lump everything into the category of we're clearing, then we get this, we're clearing again. You notice the energy of, we're clearing again. Even the word clearing turns heavy, if that makes sense. Yes, when you're saying about the element of trust, the thing about this is that the fear can kick in. And believe me, when I started going through this, fear was the first thing that kicked in. But then beneath the fear was this calmness that didn't make any sense, but it told me everything was okay. Be okay with it. Honor the process. And those are the words I use for everybody. Honor your process. Honor you. Honor your body, honor whatever you're going through. We have new tools that we can use to apply. And for Linda, I will tell you, there's some natural things called arnica. A little bottle of, I don't know, maybe Highlands. I have them all over the house.
Yeah, I know arnica. We use it for bruising and things, right?
It'll stop the itching.
Okay.
Cold, clean water. If you start itching really, really bad, you can actually shower. Yes. But the water's got to be clean. If you're putting chemical water back on you, then you want, even if you have to get some bottles of distilled water and get in the bath or something like that, or get some clean water to put on you. Water will help the itching. And so will the arnica, taken like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever you want to take. Once your light body kicks in, or your dosages change, because you're actually supporting a light body. You're not supporting a human body anymore. And so the light body is very different than the human body was.
But it feels like it's a better body, because it's healing itself constantly.
It's repairing. Let go of the healing word. Mm-hmm. It's repairing.
It's repairing.
It's repairing. If you let go, the reason I let go of the healing word years ago is because it carries so much. I'm broken.
I got to change my vocabulary.
Yeah, we do. You have to change your whole. I got to get the hair out of it. You have to change your whole vocabulary, because it lends to a mentality that carries a certain vibration that we maintain in our body. And so, changing the vocabulary to words that free, changing the vocabulary to words that support. Mm-hmm. That inspire, that lend a new understanding are really important for all of us, because there are so many words we use that create limits and boxes, and they actually shift our vibration.
Sure.
And so we constantly have to find new words, and we all get to a certain point within consciousness where we've expanded our consciousness to see how limiting all the words are. And finding new words is a whole thing all along the way. It took me years to learn how to talk through light encodements and speak in light. And your vocal cords will actually change. You won't be able to speak like you did before. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with the body when this occurs. My light language is speaking to this like you. It transmits codes and frequencies, and humans will call it a transmission that really matter. I don't speak the light language that's, I can understand it, and I can read the frequencies and tones, and I actually spoke it as a child, But my role here is to speak plain English, to explain to people, because our logical part wants something to grab a hold of.
Yes.
Sure. Our human side.
Yeah.
We're simple. We need that simple language, you know, do this, and, you know.
But find ways that are natural about supporting the body is really important. They, you know, when the pricklies start, when under the skin, when the outbreaks start, when the vomiting starts, when the body starts flushing, when the body starts doing all these weird and bizarre things, instead of trying to fix the body, ask the body what it needs. Ask your body, what do you need from me right now? Basically go into full support of your body and listening to your body 24 hours a day and letting it tell you. And so like Linda, when that kicks in, the first thing, if we've got any ego programming still going on, fear is going to be the first thing that comes in.
Yep.
And for me, it was too, for a really long time. Luckily, I had that little voice inside that eventually would start to speak. And at first, it's really subtle and soft. You can't hardly hear it. You actually have to want to hear the voice, if that makes any sense. And it's your higher self. It's your guide.
Yeah.
And so learning to listen to that, because our ego is so strong in the beginning, that voice is more subtle and quiet. But as you listen to that voice, that vibration, that higher self, those tones and those frequencies, that energy, then the ego, the power of the ego changes, and the vibration becomes very audible. You can hear the distortions with your own ego. You can hear the fears. You can hear all those things. And that's why it's really important to listen.
Yeah.
And observe.
Listen and actually do the thing that your body is telling you to do.
Yes. Yes. And support the body and love the body and respect the body. There's a lot of self-care here. There's a lot of alone time here. There's a lot of respect that was missing before. We didn't respect our bodies. We didn't respect ourselves. We didn't respect each other. We didn't respect energy. We didn't understand that our light body is our energy body, and that our energy is what supports us. Our energy is what breathes life through us. Our energy is the most important thing there is. And we stifled our energy, and we suppressed our energy, and we tried to control the energy and all these things. And we don't understand. And what a lot of people, we all have to go through to some degree, is learning to respect energy. Mm-hmm. To appreciate our energy. And let me tell you, when we get hit with photonic light upgrades and we're crawling around on the floor drooling, going, oh my God, what's going on? We learn to respect. When what will happen for every person is that we will barely be able to function. And the reason for that is because we have to learn to respect our energy. Mm-hmm. And when we do have energy, if we don't utilize it as pure source light, if we don't utilize it as source creator, if we don't use it for humanity, if we don't utilize it in a way that's highest aligned, then we won't have any energy. Therefore, we won't be able to support ourselves. Mm-hmm. We won't be able to function. And it teaches each person to respect each other on an energetic level too. And until we all on a human level go to the point of not having any energy and not being able to support ourselves, and how much energy it takes just to breathe sometimes. Mm-hmm. We don't understand respect to the degree that we have to understand in order to get us to a place. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
And it wasn't until I couldn't do anything that I came to respect my energy. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I was functioning on very little energy, just because we're brought down to 0 point field, which is also no energy. And the only energy that we have is based upon our light inside. Our whole body will move to an energy body, and you will have a physical body, but how it correlates to your existence will change. And so how we support ourselves, how we support each other, how we connect with each other, it's all energetic here. Mm-hmm. And it affects, oh, there you go.
Is our alert. Well, you know what? Actually, that's where
no wonder the emergency alerts. I don't know what the energy is here.
Well, I was so enthralled listening. I didn't even watch the time. I need to thank our guest today, Lisa Transcendence Brown. Always have a great time with you, my wonderful co-host who's under a state of emergency in New York City. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm excited and I'm really appreciative and everything. So thank you. And it's really important. So thank you for sharing with everybody too.
We love it. We love it. Linda, any last thoughts?
No, I think we just have to keep doing what we're doing, because I really believe we're in the right direction, and I'm very thankful to have guides like Lisa to show us the way, because it's definitely a new way, and that's where we have to go, and that's where I want to go. That's where I want to be, and that's where I want to live.
Well, and all I got to say, Linda, is let go of the judgment about where you are. If your heart is open, then that is how you access the fifth dimension. It's through our consciousness first. So it's just about really being conscious and present within the moment. That's where it starts. So no comparison or anything like that. Just more of an understanding of it's all energetic and about your heart being open. Every bit of this is.
Yes.
And so when we all come from that place, we're technically operating at a fifth dimensional frequency. That's what matters.
Excellent. Lisa Transcendence Brown, look her up. She's everywhere. She's fantastic. Lisa, tell us about your products really quick. I just want to give you a shameless plug before we end the show.
Oh, I never come in prepared for any of this. Everything. I don't know, teaching courses. We're about to republish the books in different languages and stuff like that. Always courses, always some kind of event. I do a lot of interviews, which are constant. I have, different things where I put out anything that will elevate our consciousness and raise our vibration. And so I always have everything, newsletters, different things. So just always, once we hit the fifth dimension, everything is about what we're creating. And so you're always in create, accomplish, create, because we all start to see the bigger picture and why we're here. And there's always a bigger picture. And so we're always focused on what we're here to be and do from a much higher place. So constantly everything, all of our stuff that we do is focused on higher consciousness humanity. And it's all re-educating humanity through the highest states of consciousness in every way. So everything to do with whatever it is, tons. It's all on the Awakening to Remembering website. Just go there. There's years and years and years. And when it comes to sleeping or losing your memory, or the itchies. I've been writing on this for years, the frequencies that we hear, a lot of this stuff. I have pages dedicated to supporting the plasma crystalline light body, because bringing everybody through to the fifth dimension, and then everybody stepping into their roles for higher consciousness humanity and all the things we're here to do, then we go, much further than there, obviously. So just check out the website. Just check out the upcoming events page. Just go explore. There's tons. There's videos, and take advantage of for us, it's opportunities. We provide an opportunity for everybody to realize that everything we do is to assist. And it's up to each person to choose how they want to do the journey. Do they want to choose it by flooding their consciousness with the knowledge that elevates and activates and brings forth more ease, or do they want to do it the old way, which can be quite intense. So this journey can be intense even for the most aware. So you want to have the information and the knowledge that assists you in making the most conscious choice that you can. So whatever, everything, if that makes sense.
AwakeningToRemembering.com. Lisa Transcendence Brown will be back again with another great show from Powered Up Talk Radio. Have a great week.